From 1988, number 34 in the Italian collection from 88 films is Touch of Death. I didn't realise this was a Lucio Fulci movie until it started up and his name popped up on screen, and I was instantly attuned to this kind of film. Thought I knew exactly when it was going to be, and we are opened up into the world of Lester, who is such an oddball character. He is this man who has an extreme gambling habit and a kind of fixation on murder. He likes to pick up wealthy widows, romance them, get money, and then off them in various ways. In fact, we open up to Lester eating a large chunk of steak and enjoying it immensely, till we go down to his basement and discover that that piece of meat has been carved from his latest dead conquest, as he then continues to mutilate the body with a chainsaw and feeding it to some pigs. This is a movie that is out and out a comedy film, and it's strange to say that with the amount of gore and blood that goes in this thing, but it is a laugh out loud complete comedy, and I really appreciated that about the movie. I figure it really went for it and nails what it's after. And we have this horrible character of Lester who has some deep psychological issues. He's constantly listening to a tape player which he thinks is himself reiterating a story, or giving him advice on how to evade the cops and what to do. You have the constant news stories that are always changing, and you're never sure if it's part of Lester's psychological breakdown that's portraying these things, because the information changes the way he's thinking. He's trying to second guess the press and the police and try to evade capture. He's got this gambling habit. He's trying to get more and more money so he can continue to feed that. And it's a really kind of weird and strange movie that melds two unusually put together genres. Now, horror comedy is not an unusual thing, but the way this is portrayed as a murdering maniac, straight-laced, horrible character, along with really slapsticky comedic moments. There's a moment where he's trying to kill his latest conquest and she just will not drink the poison and it's driving him crazy, to the point where he just decides to get a stick and just beat her to death. But it's horribly violent. You know, the blood pours from her wounds. The stick brushes against her face and rips the skin from it. It has this comedic element of him being unable to kill her, yet it's done in a really grotesque, over-the-top fashion. Ultimately, he melts her in a microwave, which itself is just ludicrous. But it's that kind of movie that has this kind of real weird sense of energy and purpose. And it's late Fulci, so it's a little bit different than the stuff he's done before, but I kind of like it. I appreciate it's a little bit different. I loved the performance of Brits. I thought he was great as Lester the molester, who is just one of those really horrible characters that we see. His glee in killing people is just wonderful, and this broken psyche that he has, where he thinks he's talking to himself as the good person and the killer person, is wonderful. There's a particular scene that I just thought was expertly done when Lester suddenly realises that he has no shadow. He's in a brightly lit street, there's shadows everywhere cast from the sun, and he just doesn't have a shadow. And just his panic in that, his fear in that moment is wonderfully realised. And then later on, when the shadow reappears, he sees it as someone that's hit the bad part of his psyche talking to him and explaining things. I think the movie gets a little bit lost later on, and it's not as perfect as I would have hoped for, but I think the idea and something reaching for something that's a little bit different for Fulci is wonderful. I really enjoyed this one. A little bit twisted, a little bit different, definitely a lot of fun, and just weird. I kind of like it. Touch of Death was an interesting watch. Never heard of it before. Really glad to have experienced it. I thought it was a great deal of fun, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comment box below, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.